I always feel like somebody's watching me. But they don't have to be. Head over to nordvpn.com/TYT right now for 75% off of 3 years of military-grade encryption for up to 6 of your devices. And I promise I'll never sing again.
How many of you today regret your vote for President Trump, or at least wouldn't do it again? Why not, David?
I just feel he has not acted properly as a president.
Well, he's not the only person who has regretted his vote for Donald Trump. The Associated Press went to some battleground districts and spoke to female Trump supporters to see how they feel about some of his racist rhetoric. And he has really amped that rhetoric up as of late. And it turns out that the majority of these voters, and again, these are battleground districts throughout the country, are not so happy with his rhetoric. They're actually deeply disturbed, according to what they're telling reporters. Remember, this is based on self-reporting. Self-reporting usually yields different results. But anyway, I'll give you the details. In more than 36 interviews by the Associated Press with women in critical suburbs, nearly all expressed dismay or worse at Trump's racially polarizing insults and what was often described as unpresidential treatment of people. Racist, let's just call it racist. Even some who gave Trump credit for the economy or backed his crackdown on immigration acknowledged they were troubled or uncomfortable lining up behind the president. So I'll give you a few quotes. This is from Kathy Barnes in Denver. I did not think it was going to be as bad as it is. Definitely narcissism and sexism, but I did not think it was going to be as bad as it is. I am just ashamed to be an American right now. Go ahead.
So I too did not think it was gonna be this bad. I didn't, and I knew it was gonna be bad. I didn't think it was gonna be this bad, but what I'm fascinated by, Kathy, is that I did not think it was gonna be this bad. I did think what I had seen from him was bad enough that I knew not to support it. And I know people come down on me because they feel like it's like the diamond in the rough is these former Trump supporters and bringing them over. These former Trump supporters who have been so catered to within political policies in the history of our nation that they would do something wild like support this man in the first place because they don't know how bad it can get. They have never experienced it. But so it's like they're down on me because they're like, no, but we want them to come. We want them, we need them. What were you thinking?
You're right.
It's hard to celebrate it. It's like, okay, 2 + 2 is 4. You get that now.
I think it's just this inability for people to put themselves in others' shoes, right? And understand that we all have different worldviews based on our life experiences. And so for me, there was a huge moment where we were at the RNC, and at that point, I was so angry at what the DNC had done in the last election. So I just felt like, no, I'm gonna be defiant. I don't know if I'm gonna support Hillary yet because what they did was wrong. Then we go to the RNC and you're in the thick of it. You see these like openly angry, openly racist supporters, chanting things, and I was like, oh my God, no, this is beyond irresponsible. And that was the moment where I felt like I needed to say that I gotta support Hillary because people listen to this show and people trust your commentary. And I know I'm in a safe place in California. I know that in California I can vote for a third party candidate and do a protest vote. I understand that. But I also understand that people turn to me and they look to me for analysis and my opinions, and they're persuaded by that. And so if someone's in a swing district, I don't want my defiance to persuade them to vote for a third party candidate when so much is on the line. So that was a turning moment for me,
I think what you said about these people having a hard time imagining what it is to be like in someone else's shoe, I think that's the key because these demographics are in the suburbs, right? Suburban people are much more isolated from other people than the people in the inner cities, where you're just by nature of density of population, you're surrounded by more people, so it's much more common for you to experience other people in the suburbs. And when you live in these McMansions, you kind of create this weird isolation in which it becomes very, very difficult to imagine what other people are going through. But catering to these voters has been an explicit Democratic strategy for the last 5 or 6 years. It's explicitly what Hillary Clinton did. There's a famous Chuck Schumer quote: "For every working class person we lose, we'll gain 2 in the Pittsburgh suburbs." That just didn't end up working out, because even though they did do better in the suburbs than they ever have, Hillary Clinton did. I just see here that she had, with voters earning more than $100,000, she was 9 points better than Obama in 2012, and with voters over 250,000, she was 11 points better than Obama, and she lost because there's just more of the other people than people in the suburbs, and they're just a very, very reactionary group of people because they know at the end of the day the Democrats won't be as reliable as the Republicans are on something like a tax cut. So it's just a very dangerous strategy for Democrats to go after these suburban voters so explicitly.
So I want to give you a few other quotes, and then I want to juxtapose what the Associated Press experienced with a focus group that CNN recently had. So Carol Evans in Wisconsin told the Associated Press, "I just don't like the way he talks about other people." Emily West from Detroit says, "It was mainly when he got into office when my opinion started changing, just the way he treats people." And then one other person, Chris Myers from Pennsylvania, who still seems supportive, says, "He's not the most pleasant person. He can be very blunt and boorish, but I think this country needs someone who is more business oriented."
Yeah.
So then you wouldn't pick him.
I mean, it is incredible how there are certain people who get to fail upward, right? I mean, how many times does a person get to go bankrupt before people wake up to the fact that he's not a good businessman? But okay, have it your way.
TV, sure, okay.
Businessmen make terrible politicians almost always.
Yes, exactly. So I want to, by the way, go to the next video because this was recent. This was a CNN focus group, and this is one of the things CNN does that I am fascinated by. And the whole question was, all right, well, Trump is targeting the squad. Do you agree with this? Does this make you uncomfortable? Again, focus group with Trump supporters. Take a look.
I'm a brown-skinned woman. I am a legal immigrant. I agree with him.
You don't think that's racist to say that?
Not at all.
No,
actually, I think it's just it's a demonstration of how their ideology spills over. Even though they're American now, so to speak, they're not acting American.
I'm glad that the president said what he said because all they're doing is they're inciting hatred and division, and that's not what our country's about. It's not about that at all. And
isn't that what the president does with some of his own comments, his own racist comments?
But he didn't say anything about color.
We know the president is not racist. He loves people from Hispanics to black people all across the board.
I mean, so look, the Associated Press relied on anecdotal evidence. Yes, they spoke to a few dozen people, but it's not represent. I don't think that this is hardcore evidence that you can latch onto and say, oh yeah, women are turning their backs on Donald Trump. Same with that CNN focus group, right? This is anecdotal. It's not really giving you a full picture of where his voters are. What we do know, based on polling overall, is that he has a very loyal base. They remain loyal. And I just don't want anyone to fall for any anecdotal story and feel overly confident about this upcoming election. There is a good chance that he'll get reelected. And one of the ways that he'll get reelected is if we get a candidate who's overconfident like Hillary Clinton was. We can't just assume things unless we have the data to back up the assumptions that we have, right?
This is so frustrating to me, just even, and I get it, because part of me is like, it does make good TV, and this is a business, and you have to be willing to want to make good TV, and so I get that. So I'm not mad at the producers, not mad at the hosts there. It is just frustrating that overall there is still this desire to understand Trump voters, but this lack of desire to listen to the black people who have been honest about them. We get it, we got it. Everybody's been saying it. This is what it is. This is why they support him. And when you focus on trying to understand them, you get a bunch of nonsense. Not one of them gave an answer that had any, it didn't make any sense. None of it made any sense. We had a woman who just decided she was gonna redefine racism.
Like what you see? Click the subscribe button below and don't forget to ring the bell to never miss another video from the Young Turks.